Morning.
Don't have to
Commissioners, the
water
meeting is
for
live.
Just kidding.
I call this August 8th meeting of the Riley County Commission to order. Please, everybody join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I'm loving this fake fall weather because it is August 8th and we know this is probably the second summer to the third fall, to which will be the third summer before we actually get fall. I saw that on a meme, so I didn't just make this up, by the way. Okay. Anyway, very much so appreciative. I keep being amazed by the fact that how green everything is this time of the year for this year. So it'd be great if that was the case every year. But anyway, moving along, we'll start off with some public comments this morning and anybody. We got a room full of people, so I know we're not a silent bunch.
Morning, Commissioners. I have a couple announcements. One, a reminder of West 69th Avenue being closed for a structure replacement. Starting Monday the 12th from Anderson Avenue North to 48th Street. That should take between the 12th and the 16th, it should be open back up. If we continue to get some rains, as they are planned, then we probably will be burning at the transfer station. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, well, seeing none, we'll close off public comment and we'll start off with commissioner comments. Commissioner Kinley.
All right, well, Tuesday was the progress meeting for the EMS building. They're on schedule and there's a lot going on the site right now. They're pouring concrete, masonry is working, plumbing, electrical rough in. Structural steel starting to come in next week. And the retaining wall along the creek will be getting started. So there's a lot going on. After that meeting, we had a meeting about the remodel for emergency management of the existing building. They had three options of floor plans and some cost estimates. And there's a lot of questions that come up. I'll wait to the end of the meeting because there's a longer discussion needed about that. Interesting note, I did get a call yesterday that we got my R&R letter. Somebody else did, and they called and said, you guys don't have to have an R&R. Says, no, you stayed in budget. I said, yeah, I said, well, thank you. I thought, don't get that often. Usually it's nice to get a thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I've got.
Okay, well, I got mine R&R yesterday too, and the city is the tough part. They're up to like 11.5% increase.
It still looks like a tax bill in the way it's
City of Riley.
written. That's a couple comments that I've gotten on it. I don't see
Yeah.
it that way, but.
Well, that's what it's. But anyway,
As long as you can read, you can see that it's not.
Yeah,
yeah,
I wonder how many people just don't kind of take a quick, like a political palm card. They just take a quick glance at it and it just goes in the trash. And to me, that's just complete waste.
well, I had to divide it by 12 and see how much every month. the insurance gonna be, So so, anyway.
So it's reading and math at the same
Yeah,
time.
reading and math, yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
$18,000 in the tax dollars.
Exactly.
Anyway, Monday afternoon, I met with our county appraiser in the office and then we had lunch. It was a good meeting, kind of got caught up on things. Tuesday, I had several personal appointments on a church committee meeting for several hours. Yeah, it went on forever, I think, but anyway. And Wednesday, I attended the military relations luncheon at 4 Points. It was a good networking event with many community leaders and Fort Riley personnel. The main speaker from the hospital, Garrison Commander Gerald Nunn, is that you? Anyway, was detained at an airport due to the hurricane and was unable to attend at the last minute. So Colonel Ladine Castillo Rojas did the presentation on Irwin Army Hospital. And they serve about 15,000 soldiers, veterans, and their families. And he was a very good presenter, went through his experiences through his career. He's from Puerto Rico. He started there from a very poor family and worked his way up, and you know, it was really had a good, interesting.
He's a really good guy.
Yeah, he
He's a
really
good
is.
guy.
Then after lunch, I came into the office and reviewed agenda and documents for today's meeting. Several people in my office, and it, you know, took me longer than I had anticipated. And so that's all I have.
Okay, well, as for me, Monday afternoon, I had my monthly visit with the doctor. All went well. I think we're finally on the same page and on the right path once again, and seem to be seeing some progress. I'm actually calculated some stuff, and I think I'm actually like down 20 pounds or something over the last 2 months, so it's good. Tuesday evening, I watched the returns come in from the primary election. Take a moment, congratulate all the candidates that are moving along to the general election in November, and thanks to all those that had the courage and inclination to put themselves out there for betterment of the community and just for democracy in general. I will tell you that looking at some of the returns from the state, we lost quite a bit. We lost a handful of incumbent county commissioners from around the state. Yeah. So just get used to seeing some new faces at KFC and some other events when that time comes next year in January. Wednesday afternoon, sat down and listened in on 2 key webinars from the National Association of Counties. One went through the rigorous process of working with the Department of Housing and Urban Development on potential low cost and workforce housing initiatives that would be kind of prudent to the local area. There's a lot of red tape that goes along with that. There's a lot of things you can do, a lot of things you can't. 500,000 and 75,000 in terms of population seem to be the key indicators of what you can and can't do for a lot of things. So as you can tell, it's urban development, not rural development. So kind of cancels a lot of those things out. But and then the second one, actually, this was a pretty interesting one, was the process of starting and moving forward on a veterans court in your local judicial district. There's a lot more of those popping up along the way, and there's many different ways that are kind of coming in to do those and what the vision and focus is for them. I watched both of those webinars because they're both prudent to the work and discussions taking place on both of those national steering committees I'm on, and I just wanted to catch up on it. And lastly, and I need to confirm this to make sure, but they've been trenching and laying some conduit in my neighborhood, for whom I wish it's WTC. And if so, that's going to be so awesome. So it's going to be greatly appreciated. It finally means we'll have quality and local broadband in our area, which is an absolute win for everybody. So it looks like the type of conduit they use for fiber. So that's why I do that. Timing seems about right. So I'm gonna reach out and go, when can I get on? I'm ready to cancel Cox Communications so bad. So.
Yeah, I talked to Jeff yesterday
Yeah.
about it, and they had a brochure out. They said, go online and sign up, and they said, just have patience, because they
Yeah.
have all sorts of, they have to mark all the lines and. You know,
Yeah. I mean, they've got like a whole Skittles, bag of paint, along the sidewalk and along the frame there, but they have to look at everything, gas, water, everything, because they have to go through all that. But
he said it was really moving along.
it must be, because I was under the interpretation that was going to be probably well into 2025 before they got over there. So they must be working on it early, but I do need to confirm that, but I'm about 90% for sure. And about 100% for sure. I'll be getting it online and signing up pretty quick. Like, so yeah, that's my spiel this morning.
Okay, commissioners need a motion to approve plaza reservation request for Manhattan Symphony Orchestra on the plaza for downtown Manhattan Inc. for Saturday, September 7th, 2024, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay,
Did you have anything to add or just, okay, I think you
Just-
explained it well the other day. Okay,
Questions?
okay.
want me to start? Okay, well, I make a motion to approve the plaza reservation request for the Manhattan Symphony Orchestra on the plaza for downtown Manhattan, Saturday, September 7th from 6 to 8.
A second.
Been moved and seconded to approve a plaza request for Manhattan Symphony Orchestra on the plaza for downtown Manhattan Inc. for Saturday, September 7th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. All in favor? Aye.
Chair, please sign.
And Lori, no rain on that particular date,
Yeah.
please.
I'll put the order in.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Commissioner made a motion to approve change order number one with Deaver Construction Inc. for Parallel Road Culvert Replacement Project in the amount of $11,034.08 for an adjusted contract price of $296,357.22.
I moved to approve the change order for the parallel road bridge of $11,034.08.
I'd second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the change order in the amount of $11,034.08 for the parallel road culvert replacement project. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair, please sign. Commissioner, need a motion for the tax roll corrections?
Yeah, these for 3 years, is that what they are?
It's 4 years.
4
Yeah,
years?
it's not counting.
Yeah, it's 4 years.
Just a 3%,
yeah.
3% change makes a big difference on that size of a project.
Mhm.
I'd be happy to talk about it during my staff update, or if you want to have some questions now.
Like I said, probably vote up,
It
they,
would vote up.
yeah,
Just what I
figured it then, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd make a motion to approve the tax roll corrections as presented.
Second,
been moved and seconded to approve the tax roll corrections as written. All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Chair, please sign. Next, Commissioner Riley County, employee action forms, Jamie Cesar, new hire, customer service one rep, treasurer's department. Alicia Bartlett, records assistant one, register of deeds, separation of service, and Jake, Conrarty, promotion, deputy fire chief administration. Commissioner, do you have any items for the joint city county meeting?
I don't. Are there any items for it? I didn't see anything on the,
I haven't seen anything.
okay. I would probably just suggest canceling it. I've got a pretty busy day next Thursday already, but I have no issues with that.
Was it
Supposed to be next Thursday on the 15th at 4 here.
here?
And speaking of meetings. Of course, KAC would be the 3rd through the 5th of December, week after Thanksgiving. I'll be coming back from Kentucky, so I don't know how that's gonna work yet. And just maybe driving from Kentucky to Wichita.
Here you go.
I guess it'd already be packed, so we don't have to worry about that.
True. Commissioners need a motion to approve payroll and accounts payable.
Make a motion to approve the payroll accounts payable.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve payroll and accounts payable. All in favor?
Aye.
All three signed, please.
And one
Yep,
by
that's-
one, there goes the room.
That's what I was gonna bring up, that KC is December 3rd through the 5th. Registration opens in mid-August. Do all of you want to attend?
I do.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you would get Cindy the list of, if you want they usually have annual conference and then pre-conference meetings sometimes, so. What you would like to attend.
Okay.
Did you want to go as well, Catherine?
That's at the same place, the Hyatt or whatever it is downtown, which
Uh,
where they usually have it.
I'll have to check. Yeah, we'll do that.
I know I've got it on my calendar. I'm
Yep,
coming.
Hyatt Regency.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, driving back from Kentucky that day on the Tuesday, but there's not much going on, so it should be all right.
That's good.
Correct.
And it's a half a day on that Thursday, right? Now that I think about it, I got an event that night too.
Typically, I don't have that here with
And
me.
it's usually kind of a mix and match of things on the Tuesday, a full day on Wednesday, and they're usually done by about 11 or 12 on the following day. Usually have association meetings.
Does that have any changes in minutes?
Everything.
And
I don't
so,
either.
mm, what is it?
Fifth.
Hmm?
Fifth.
The fifth, okay, I would make a motion to approve the minutes from August. Board of County Commissioners.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as written from the August 5th meeting of the Riley County Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
How do tentative agendas look, commissioners?
There was, I thought something I had on there. Give me a second. Oh, election canvassing, but I already talked to you about it, Rich. We're good.
Yep. You have that coming up for sure.
It's on the 19th.
Any items for next week's press conference, commissioners?
No.
Good, next we have Mr. Waltman at 9 o'clock with an executive session, I believe.
Hmm.
Full time will be needed,
Ye-
Clancy?
Yes, please.
Right, got beat next door.
Yeah, speaking of incumbent commissioners. Vicky Katz up in Leavenworth, she lost.
She did.
Yeah.
Of course,
Um,
she said she wasn't gonna run again, and then she decided.
She did.
Initially, she said she was done.
Mike Stiven, who ran for that House seat, he lost, but he'll still stay a commissioner. So.
Was he in the middle? He wasn't. His commissioner.
Correct, yeah. Max Dibble, our president at KAC for this year, he lost. That's
really?
Phillips County, yeah,
He did?
Yeah.
Be darned.
yeah,
He's been there a while.
Yeah,
yeah, he's been there 20-something years at least,
he's real active.
yeah, and still is going to be. I don't know what issues there were there that caused that, but that one's kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
There's another one. I can't remember all of them over there, but thought it was interesting too. Dennis Pyle got beat.
Yeah.
Wasn't surprised.
He was third out of three.
Yeah, he was, and it wasn't even
Well,
close.
I didn't see that.
They did knock off Marvin Robinson, a Democrat up in Wyandotte. Yeah,
And Vic
and
Miller.
Vic Miller, the
Really?
House Minority Leader lost.
You're
Yeah,
kidding me.
not kidding at all.
He was running for Senate, but he had irritated Kelly. She poured a bunch of money into his competitor.
Really?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
her PAC, her
Her group, yeah.
so-called middle of the road PAC.
They
poured a
did-
bunch
she
of
did
money
that
in.
to Lincoln Rogers,
Oh,
too.
no.
Yeah.
Is that the name of them? Is that what it's
I'll have
called?
to check the file.
Yeah.
The so-called middle of the.
So-called.
Middle of the road. That's good.
And I would,
Gotta watch out for the.
Yeah, you always pay attention to something when it announces its title is nonpartisan. Nonpartisan. Oh, really?
Yeah, got several stories about that.
Bowser, that one he didn't think it wasn't Democrat, right? So
no,
that's-
yeah, he's in.
And that one, and whatever it was, 50 something. Steel and somebody that said they're gonna have to do a recount, girl, because it was like 28 votes difference.
Oh, there's talk about it. We got to do a mandatory audit on all of us that are in the 51st on at least 10% of those precincts. We're just gonna do all of ours because we only got 4 precincts.
Well,
That way,
yeah, it's a small.
that way, if there is a recount, we've already
They
got it
said,
down.
no, they said that the Secretary of State announced that it was gonna be a recount. This one on the radio this morning, they said.
Oh,
What is the
I haven't heard that anything's officially been.
How do
filed.
they-
The candidate has
yeah.
to file it.
Yeah,
Well,
and they have to pay for it.
Yeah, right now, all we have is a mandatory audit of 10% right now. And I think that's why they're doing it.
Probably, because that's all down the Zedale area, and that.
Mhm. And I
It
think,
kind of follows along that 24 corridor in Wabunsee and a little bit of Shawnee County
and
too.
that's why they're doing the mandatory audit. That way you can say, look, the audit came out good. You still want to spend your money.
Oh,
You know, if it's
Maybe
handful of
that's what they're
votes,
saying.
maybe there's a chance, but unless some county just didn't do their due diligence and check it 25 times
Yeah.
before we send it out to the polls like we do, then really a fat chance. It's a pretty good margin.
I'm surprised on my race, it was 30 right in.
I don't know, didn't look.
Yeah, still do that one. Can you see it?
Yeah. On the
No, we don't tabulate write-ins because write-ins nowadays, they have to officially file.
Oh,
Where we
okay.
used to have to count every Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse and George Washington. Now they have to actually, write-in candidate, if they
Always
are a
runs.
true write-in, they have to file documentation. That's all we gotta consider now.
So what happens like that's what I was wondering too, like on committeemen and committeewoman positions that are write-ins.
Well, they are,
Okay.
for those ones, but for the higher up positions.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you gotta be an official candidate, because that's about the only way on the majority of those, John, is you get anyone.
Yeah, you get somebody to write it.
Well, I forgot to file the paperwork for mine and there were 4 write-ins and I'm kind of wondering.
Yeah, that five.
There's a limit. There's 3 on some and 5 on the others,
Yeah.
so. Townships and precinct committee people.
That townships was the other one.
Oh, I just wondered who was upset with me.
Oh, there's always people upset with this county, but you never meet anyone that says that. That's why a guy came in the office and I know him from up North County. He was talking about, he's trying to get on township. He's one that's all mad about township roads.
Oh.
Was that 38 on write-ins on the Democrat side or the Republican
Yeah, on my
side?
side, it was just really, that's what I saw in the preliminary report, and one that, that's kind of strange. Greg didn't have it, well, I wonder who was upset.
I didn't have any writing. I didn't look at it.
Anyway, this guy that wants to get on township, he's coming in asking about, that's what his question was, what do precinct committee people do? And so I had to explain that. He goes, By the way, I just voted for you. I said, everyone you talk to has always voted for you, but no one ever says I didn't vote for you.
No, I've gotten that.
He just laughed, but yeah, he's township is out by Fancy Creek, but it's not Fancy Creek, but him and his wife are gone, it'd be about.
They couldn't vote anyways. Okay.
So he's trying to get on the township board.
Yeah, cause I've seen, we print out those ones that write it. I mean, we 2 pages.
We used to have to do all of them,
Write them in like.
Jeez.
whether
That's a
Donald Duck
waste.
could hold it or not, we had to count.
So do you count to see if there's an, or you see if there isn't, they didn't file.
If they didn't file the paperwork, we don't bother. Yeah. We used to,
It's good to know.
that's what used to take so long, especially during a presidential election.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
the presidential one, I've seen, I mean,
Oh,
there's,
Lord.
yeah, names of everybody in the country listed.
They accidentally changed the rule and made sense.
That
Yeah.
one was, I was surprised they did that, that was one that should be done decades ago. Really frankly, was just a waste of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, those township and precinct, if you get it right in.
Yeah, you want someone,
To,
it's just a matter of if they'll accept it or not.
Right. well, that's what. We had 2 people running for 3 positions in Riley City, one of them had a bunch of writings, we had 4 people that all had 4 writings or something happened before. And they called around and 2 of them said no. And then, so they had a coin flip here.
Sometimes they say more than no.
Well, yeah.
Say, what?
Are you blank kidding me?
Give me their names.
Yeah, who wrote it there? Knock on their door. Jim was complaining that. This was another one had blank one, but we got a computer right in him, we got 3 votes, but that was the only one with more than one. He was on the city council for 8 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way back to end up mayor.
That's a landslide.
Yeah. That's like 75%.
It's a mandate.
No, that's a small town that you get on, it's hard unless you. Unless you actually refuse, you couldn't pick it up. Nobody else wants to do it.
Of course not.
Keep doing it. That's what Randolph's, nobody even files.
No.
They said, you're not gonna ask, them. We're just gonna ask them to do it.
That's the charm of small cities, though, small towns. It really is. Don't, if that's what we're getting at the executive, it's Excel, you'll mess the printer up. You'll lock the printer, I don't do
Really?
Excel. Back,
No
yeah,
wonder I couldn't do
don't
it.
send Excel sheets to us, please. Printer won't print them.
Well, I think if Clancy forged the ones I sent to him, they're on 8 by 14, so they're.
It still doesn't print. If it's not 8 by 11, it won't pick it
But
up.
that's what I mean, like
Okay.
they were
Yeah.
preset for our printer.
I literally had to reset the printer this morning because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't have like a larger.
I didn't have it on our day.
It's probably set up to do it
That.
some way, shape or form, but it's just not
Let's
set up.
let it mix this one up with that one.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know.
That's all.
Wait for them. Oh, that's-
There's 9. Okay. I move the county commission, including Chairman Ford, Vice Chairman McKinley, and Commissioner Middleton, recess into executive session on potential litigation with Clancy Holman, County Councilor, Brian Parker, Deputy County Councilor, attorneys for the commission, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, an exception to the Kansas Open Meeting Act. Open meeting to resume in the county commission chambers at 9:20 a.m. Elizabeth Ward, Human Resource Director, Brittany Phillips, Budget and Finance Officer, Rich Varley, Riley County Clerk, was present during a portion of the executive session.
I'll second that.
Forget what we're doing at all now. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the county commission recess into executive session. Potential litigation with Clancy Holman County Counselor, Bryant Parker, Deputy County Counselor, attorneys for the commission, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship. An exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, with the open meeting to resume in the county commission chamber at 9:20 a.m. All in favor?
Aye.
Commissioners, the meeting is live.
Move, move the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
I move the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded that the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Here, back in session. Are you taking over for Michelle or? Oh,
Oh, yeah, she's here, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's really, really.
Yeah. well, we're running a little bit late off the executive session too, so it is what it is.
Yeah, why don't leave it? You're live.
Yeah, usually really reliable.
Fine.
I was gonna say more than 5 minutes, so I was like, okay. All right.
You can go ahead, Michelle.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michelle Reed, Human Resource Manager. I'm here today to ask for approval to renew our contract with the state of Kansas Employee Health Program. We signed a contract for 3 years. We've been doing this since 2003. So our contract is up at the end of this year, and they're asking us to renew it from 2025 through 2027. I just have some quick numbers that I wanted to give you just because I did some research on it. We have 258 benefit eligible employees. Of those 258, 220 employees are enrolled in our medical plan. So a good 85% of employees. We have 90% enrolled in our dental plan. So our employees really take advantage of the benefits that we offer. Over the past 5 years, our insurance, our co-pays have decreased by up to $20. Premiums have decreased by $20 a pay period. Deductibles have decreased from $200 for a single plan, $400 for a family plan. And out-of-pocket maximums have decreased as much as $1,000 for a single plan and $2,000 for a family plan. So we do have really good benefits that we want to continue to offer to the employees.
Looks like you really studied this.
I did. We also have an insurance committee. We met a few months ago with looking to maybe go elsewhere away from the state. They were tasked to department and talk to their employees. And the overall consensus was everyone likes our benefits and want to stay with the state instead of exploring because they know what they get. They know they get really good coverage and they're happy with what we have.
Well, if everyone's happy with that, I would make a motion to approve the renewal contract with the Kansas State Employees Health Care Commission for January 2025 through December of 2027.
Second.
So it's going from a 3-year to a 2-year?
It'll be 25, 26, 27. So it'll be through 27.
Oh, through the end of 27.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
It's confusing these days.
Yeah, you got to think about the calendar in there instead of just
Yeah.
the difference between the years.
Yeah.
Okay.
I looked at it 5 times. I'm like, wait.
Okay, okay, all right, it's been moved and seconded then to approve the renewal contract with the State of Kansas Employee Health Care Commission for January 2025 through December of 2027. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Sure, please sign. Next one, we have Shiloh Hector at 9:30. Welcome back, Shiloh. Amen.
They won't like.
Not back to dancing yet, though.
And
At least you came.
sadly, I thought I would be dancing by now, but people have brought me back to reality.
No.
And I don't like it.
Here to dance.
But you got to be feeling better, right?
I'll get there.
Okay. Be patient.
Had to bring that up. didn't you?
To be honest, no, not yet, but I'll get there.
It's been what, 3 weeks?
3.5, yeah.
Yeah. Oh goodness, I'm glad I'm done with this. Fine.
Bring back fond memories.
Oh, yeah.
Unfun.
Both of them.
Oh. Yeah. So.
Yes.
And then that's what we have to obey.
Yes.
No, it's like, anyway, state statute. Simultaneously says, applying to private shopping, whatever. It's, oh, what did I do? I have to do it, and then they give us no recommendations how to do it.
Well, then I will do my best to then apply them.
Yeah.
And just lower what we have to obey. And the ones that do, I'm not gonna apply any of them to the ones that didn't sell, because they're just gonna stay on anyway, so.
That's exactly what I have.
Okay, all right.
I'm in the best interest.
Are we close to filing the deeds?
Yes, I meet with Director Pete tomorrow.
Okay.
Be back.
We'll write the batch.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I just. I'm just gonna leave it live or staying for sure. We ended like that. It's not fire Sunday road.
I wasn't prepared. I was in the boy. We're not doing it. I can't hear things. Yeah, I can't. It's. We can get things that we're going to touch. She was like, you do realize this is gonna be like 6 weeks before you'll feel somewhat normal, and then you know, anywhere up to 6 months before you really are. You know. Nope, didn't know that. But I think she did say I am way ahead of physical therapy.
Walking, like you're walking,
Yeah.
you are simultaneously, you are one television right, and you're doing what?
I'm just so tired because I can't.
And mentally exhaust you.
It does. I can't sleep because I can't get comfortable.
Are you sleeping in a recliner or?
I go back and forth.
See, when I've had my shoulders,
Uh-huh.
I cannot, before and after, I slept in a recliner for months after
Yeah,
I had to.
I start in the bed, like kind of propped up, and then Martin is like, I know I'm keeping him awake, so then I move out to the recliner and
I'm sure he understands.
oh yeah, no, he's been amazing. And it's my right leg, so I can't drive yet, and so he's my little chauffeur.
It'll get there.
My dad's a cardiologist, right? He was brilliant, brilliant. Best physician I've ever been around. He was out of Wichita. Call him, his name that he went by was Tex Beck, right? It just, he's always gone by Tex, right? This guy's a really solid years now. He said, I mean, this is a guy that is like an operational cardiologist. He said, I put off my knees forever. Because what they don't tell you is that when you do a knee operation, they're basically amputating your knee.
Oh, yeah.
And then reattaching it, like that's how violent
Yeah,
they're doing it. And so even when they do
Okay.
it well, it takes forever.
yeah, no, so.
We are at 9:30.
Way ahead of schedule, so I'm taking that as a win.
Yeah.
I like the color of your walking stick.
Thank you, I thought that would be appropriate.
We're still down one, sorry.
No wonder your driver's so well compliant. You have something to strike him with.
My dogs, they I've got one dog right now. For some reason, she does not want to go down
Gotcha.
we have a walkout deck and then they have to go down the stairs to go. And Jade, for some reason, does not want to go down the stairs. And so the cane has become very, I bang on the deck and say, get down there. Well, hello, commissioners, it feels like it's been forever
Wow.
since I've seen you, but here I am with the July revenue figures. To start off, we will go with what our general fund balance is. At the end of July was 15,099,322. We did make, in the month of July, we made that transfer out of the general fund to CIP, so that number is down, significantly from last month. Our total fund balance as of the end of July, 85,221,416. Our investment income year to date in the general fund is 1,952,567. That is 97% of the 2 million that we do have budgeted for the year. Just keep in mind, we will have one more interest transfer, and that number that's going to go up here into the capital improvement fund will be significantly higher because we've moved those funds in there. So we're definitely going to come in over budget for investment income. But we're sitting really well. Our interest accumulated for the year in the ARPA fund is 413,164. We're still getting 5.48% on the active checking account, and our highest CD bid for the month of July was 5.28%. I am slowly increasing how much we are putting into our CDs, just so we can still lock in some of these funds, at least for the next year, while these rates are still in the.
Yeah.
So our general fund revenue for the month of July, total revenue, 931,442. That's 6.86% higher than what was budgeted for the month of July. Year to date through July, we're at 4.89% over budget. And then you can see here, year to date, we have collected 88.48% of total revenues for 2024. Sales tax that the county retains, deposited 195,968 into the general fund sales tax. That's 7.18% higher than July of last year, 17.58% over what was budgeted for the month, and July represents May sales. Year to date, we have 1,307,490 of the that's 65% of the 65% of what we have budgeted for 2024, which is $2 million. The road and bridge sales tax, we deposited 225,636. That's just about 6.5% higher than July of last year, 35% over what was budgeted for the month. And we have deposited $506,018 for 2024. That's 75% of the 2 million that was budgeted for this calendar year. Year to date, comparing to from last year, you can see here we are almost even, on the general fund sales tax year to date where we were at this point in time last year. And obviously the road and bridge is still going to be lower until we're comparing apples to apples. And comparing July to the month of June, we're 5.18% higher than what was collected last month. Not much difference, you know, the majority of our sales tax is made up by retail trade. And within that, the bulk of that is our department stores and specialty stores. So nothing really significant there. This shows our breakdown of how those sales tax dollars are split between the county and the cities. And yeah, so that's what I've got for revenue numbers for this month. Any questions or anything about that? Okay, just a few things. Since the last time I saw you, I did attend the NACFO conference in Tampa Bay. I was installed as president-elect for 24-25, so I will be installed next year in Philadelphia as president of the Treasurers Association.
I may have to join you as vice chair of a national committee now myself, so.
Okay.
At the same time.
All right.
I haven't decided yet.
We had really good education sessions. We had a session on AI, which was very interesting. Work-life balance as a retention strategy. It's good to hear that treasurers across the country are having the same issues that we're having. Cybersecurity was another area. Our outgoing NACFO president is the treasurer of St. Lucie County, Florida, and they had a major cyber attack in October. And so they went through their real life situation, how they handled it from start to finish. Another session we had was the new world of professionalism, kind of geared towards, you know, the different Gen X versus Gen Y, and just what does professionalism look like now? And it was kind of interesting because we did have a range of treasurers that go from, you know,
5 generations, basically.
we definitely
Yeah.
have that in that room. So, you know, when they ask the question, what does professionalism look like to you? The numbers,
5 different
the
answers.
answers were, you know, where we have a treasurer that allows their staff to wear jeans and hoodies every day to a treasurer that requires their staff to wear, you know, a tie, and the men wear ties and the women, you know, so it was definitely, it's once again, it's very, it's not just us, it's everywhere. So the next session we had was a peer panel. We had 6 different treasurers from 6 different states talk about tax administration and what each of those offices do. Once again, very, very interesting. The state of New York, that county treasurer is responsible for handling if there's an estate that there's no heirs. He's responsible for helping distribute that estate, and he actually personally gets to get paid by the state for handling that. So he actually had an estate that was a very large estate, and, you know, had to handle that. But then on the flip side, he's also had to handle some where he had to go out and clean out a house, and, you know, and had it was just very interesting, just how every county just handles things just a little bit differently. Then also while I was there,
Probably on that thought, it's probably not county to county. It's probably both state statute and how state government's set up, because
sure.
we have 5 commonwealths and they do that tax stuff different.
Sure.
I'm also from Kentucky, and it's a commonwealth, and it's not the county treasurer that actually collects and does all the taxes. They go through the sheriff's office and
Sure.
does all that. So it's just, yeah,
Yeah.
it is a very, yeah, you go into the sheriff's office to pay your taxes. So it's just a different setup, yeah. Yeah, for real.
Way to collect your taxes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I also did, speaking of the education, I did complete my 120 hours and received the Government Finance Master Certificate from Wayne State University. So-
Congratulations.
So that's the highest level of, or through our certification program. So very good. It was a very good conference. We had probably 20 vendors and looked at some software, some different things that, could possibly help with things in our offices. So I'm gonna set up some demos in the next couple months to look at some things there as well. Okay, back to reality. Delinquent real estate is going to be published in the paper starting on Tuesday. So it'll be published for the next 3 weeks. It's the start of the process to then have the county able to bid off any unpaid taxes in September, and then we'll starts the tax sale process for those properties. Just wanted to give you an update of what the new hours are looking like in our office. I ran some numbers, and in the month of July, we served over 155 customers between 7:30 and 8 for the month of July. Most of those customers were motor vehicle titles and renewals. We have gotten several compliments from customers coming in saying that they're so thankful they can come in at 7:30 and
I don't know if you guys got it. I got an email on that myself.
and so and I feel like I see a weight lifted off of the staff too. I feel like they worked really, really hard, Monday through Thursday or clear up until Friday, and it just the excitement that they have, knowing that they're serving the customers and they're also getting to take advantage of this, their whole work life self is, they're really enjoying that. And I just want to express my staff's thanks to you for letting us try this out. Finally, as you can see, I'm back from knee surgery. I'm working about half-time this week, probably half-time next week. Just, it takes a lot out of me. So, but for my mental health, it has been good to be back. My brain kind of felt like it was kind of turning to mush, just sitting around watching TV all day.
Especially if you're watching the news.
I watched a lot of Olympics last week.
Oh, that's a little bit better.
Because I wasn't sleeping much. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and then flip on and watch table tennis or whatever happened to be on. So it's a slow process. I commend you, Catherine. I really think I had in my head it was going to be easier than it has been, but I'm getting there slowly but surely. So my staff has done a fabulous job since I've been gone. They actually hired a new employee while I was gone.
Saw that.
I look forward to meeting her on Monday. So, but I definitely trust their judgment. I have a great team and I couldn't be more thankful for how they've handled things while I've been out. So, is there anything I can do for you for next month?
Yeah, I got to get a driver's license renewed.
All right, I know you get that done.
Okay.
But congratulations on your education and your
Thank you.
election.
Thank you. Yeah.
I might have to, it might give me another reason to have to go to Philly next year for that conference.
All right. Well, I've got to save the date card for you. So I'll give you one.
We'll do that. I'll be there and I'll be cheering.
All right. Well, you guys have a great day today. Thank you very much.
Michigan Chamber of Commerce update is 9:45.
They do their conference kind of almost intertwined with NACO's national conference, and so I was at the same place. And it is in Philadelphia next year. Aaron.
The way the lights shine, I don't know how many seconds I have left.
You got it. I guess you guys got the purple memo today, right?
You're good.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Thank you, Chairman Ford, and Commissioners. Darren Solden, Director of Economic Development for the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce. Also joined by some other representatives from our Economic Development team. I'll let them do the majority of the presenting this morning. I just wanted to highlight an upcoming event from one of our key partners, especially when it comes to workforce development and what supports business development, and economic development in our community, and that's Manhattan Area Technical College. They have their ribbon cutting coming up here on August 29th at 4 p.m. for their Advanced Technology Center. Just want to connect a few dots on this. I've heard this from us before, but why I think that facility and the work that's going to go on in the education, training, certification that's going to go on there is so important. First off, that increases capacity in construction trades, which is something that I think when we talk about housing in our region being a major issue and needing increased capacity of houses, and someone's got to build those, and those folks are being turned out of those programs there at MATC. So increased capacity there is going to be really important. Another one that isn't necessarily resulting from this specific new space, but something the chamber's been very involved in, and I want to give a lot of kudos to George Kant on our team, and to the folks representing many of our healthcare providers and healthcare networks within our region. We have a roundtable group, an industry roundtable group, with multiple of those, one in kind of financial services and banking, one in manufacturing. But the healthcare group has really taken on over the course of this past 6 to 8 months this issue of how do we turn out more people working in healthcare in our community and in our region. And so that group and the leaders of those different healthcare, our different systems and providers have come together, have worked with MATC, have worked with Greater Manhattan Community Foundation, and there is some activity and some resources being dedicated towards increasing the capacity of some of those nursing programs at MATC. And so additional instructors and some things to help retain instructors. And so we're really excited to see where that goes. I'll let Jim update specifically on what those things are and when they're rolled out. But I just want to commend our team, George on our team for the work that he's done. And then thank those folks. They're busy, very busy people, but they've invested time and effort into this group over the course of the last several months. And I think we're going to see some great things play out there. So we're putting a lot of effort into, as a chamber and an economic development team, into healthcare and construction trades specifically right now, working to help with recruitment efforts. We're going to engage through the Higher Paths program as one of the ways we're going to do that. Some of our other existing talent programs that Allison manages will be doing that. But at the end of the day, targeting high school students, young adults, transitioning military. If someone wants to work and go, you're going to work in and take advantage of opportunities in healthcare, construction trades. You can come to Manhattan and do that. You can get the training and certification you need, and there are jobs available in this area in those industries. And so we're going to be doing our part to help fill the funnel on the front end to support that increased capacity. I also think it's really important to note that with that Advanced Technology Center, the increased capacity and the ability to do more things from a training standpoint, especially in some of the programs, industrial engineering, automated systems, critical environment technology, in the future, adding biomanufacturing. These are really important. You hear from us a lot when we talk about business recruitment, but let's not forget that we have a lot of existing businesses in the region and in the state of Kansas that currently hire out of those areas or out of those areas that MATC is doing training in and is increasing capacity because of this Advanced Technology Center. So do K-State, and so does NBAF. And so it's really important that as MATC grows, it is going to help support growth of existing businesses, going to help support the efforts going on at the university, at NBAF, and also going to make us more appealing from a workforce standpoint as we're trying to build a cluster in that space and recruit other businesses in advanced manufacturing, biomanufacturing, biosecurity, and animal health, just to name a few. So again, ribbon cutting Thursday, August 29th, 4 p.m. Hope that if schedules allow, we can see you out there. And then last thing I want to note really quick before I hand it over to Allison, just want to thank Commissioner Ford for participating in a national security crossroads conversation here.
That was interesting.
Last month, National Security Crossroads is a now federally supported regional effort between the states of Kansas and Missouri around enhancing the performance of national security and defense assets. So if you think about Kansas, Missouri, I can send you all the one pager that would be good reference, but this is something that the Department of Commerce in Kansas and their counterparts in Missouri have been working on along with representatives from communities and installations across both states for a number of years, has some relatively new federal funding behind it. And so they're doing some work around how to best utilize those resources to positively impact those national security and defense assets across the two states. And we had a lot of conversation on workforce, had good input from local employers and local government, university, NBAF, et cetera, were all at the table. So appreciate the engagement from the county.
Yeah, it was a really good conversation. And actually that stretches across the Mississippi River over to Scott Air Force Base, which is actually in Illinois technically, but services a lot of the Missouri area. So it's
and technically Strategic Command and everything up in Omaha has been part of that conversation too. So yeah, so that's those are important planning efforts, but with hopes to secure additional resources in the future that can ultimately, I think our goal is that if that can support workforce development efforts here locally and regionally, that we as a community will see benefits, and that will then benefit again, whether it's employers, federal or state, in the form of NBAF, K-State and others that are doing work in those spaces. So I'm going to hand it off to Allison. She's going to update on a couple talent related programs that she was here talking to you about earlier this summer.
Good morning. I'm Allison Muth, Talent Strategies Manager for the Manhattan Chamber. We just recently wrapped up our MHK Summer Internship Program. So that is a collaboration between K-State Athletics and HYPE. It is a program designed to integrate student interns into our community and show them what Manhattan has to offer. So we had several interns from K-State as well as several from out of state. We actually had one from Hawaii. So that was actually really neat to see him get integrated into our community and make friends here.
I think you did it during the summer.
Yes, so that was pretty exciting. We had about 10 businesses participate and sign up their interns. We had about 40 interns that came in and out of the summer program. On July 26th, we had our intern appreciation lunch to wrap up the summer. So we had students and the interns and the representatives join us for that. So we're excited to see that second year of that program is strong, and we'll continue to improve it for next year. Something that's kicking off here very soon is our Classroom to Career program. So this was a program designed for kids to start thinking about careers at an early age, specifically in our region. So it's pairing fourth grade classrooms with businesses. There's really three main events that happen during the year. You go into the classroom and introduce your business, your organization, what you do, who you serve. The second visit is really about jobs and what you do and how you can prepare for those jobs. Especially the programs like MATC and K-State, some of the things that we have in our region to support that, even at an early age to start thinking about that. And then the last thing is a field trip. And so it is a $400 sponsorship. So that $100 goes towards the busing of the field trip to get students to come out to your organization, see those workers actually like living and breathing what they do for a living. But then the extra $300 is used in a fund for classroom supplies. So everything goes directly back to the classroom. So as you're talking to businesses, if they're interested in signing up, that sign-ups right now, I can either send them the paper copy or you can sign up directly on the Chamber's website. But we're excited for the program to kick off. We're having a kickoff event in September to pair those teachers in those classrooms. But businesses will get a social media campaign. They'll get their name on the door. So there's a lot of brand visibility along with just teaching students what is possible as they continue in their education. So those are really the two main programs going on. But pending questions, I'll pass it to Bishop. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. It's been a very busy summer with a lot of change of commands, change of responsibilities.
And then, of course, 2 weeks ago, we did have Military Appreciation Night at the rodeo. So I just want to give a huge thank you to our sponsors, Briggs, Wamego Teleconference, Navy Federal Credit Union, High Tech, Schilling, AUSA, the Riley County Fair Board, and especially to Chick-fil-A, Pepsi for providing not only the delicious food, but the drinks. We were able to give away all of our 1,500 tickets. And of course, the tent was consistently full throughout the night, and the One ID band did play. So great music. In fact, we had a lot of people that from just the fairgrounds in general that just wanted to pop into the tent and say, you know, I don't want to eat, I don't want to take up, but I just want to listen to the band. So we were able to welcome them in. One addition that we did this year is we did have the Army recruiters out. And so they were able to talk to families and just rodeo and fair attendees. So as you guys heard, it was great to hear Gary Fike say just how much the crowd and how many people were there. So and it was a little hot, but I told people it was 15 degrees cooler than it was last year. So I take the few sweat drops that we had. As you guys know, combat aviation is pretty much all back. Helicopters are back up in the sky and starting to get filled out on the airfield. But there is training coming up. So 2nd Brigade is planning on heading to the National Training Center in Fort Irwin, California within the next month. So by September, they will be there for their weeks of training and then return. Knock on wood, as of right now, there is no pending deployments or rotations coming up. But as you know, in the Army in conflicts, things will change. So we will update you with any changes, but it will be glad to have everybody home through this fall season. Yesterday at the MRC lunch, we did have the hospital commander speak, Colonel Castillo. He was great. He really talked about his why and why he chose to serve, why he continues to serve. And then really just talked about the importance of the community partnership and how the community is very important in seeing not only those service members and families, but also veterans and retirees. There are services at the hospital that they cannot do, so they do rely heavily on the community partnerships of the surrounding hospitals to help take care of that need and to ensure the service members are ready for deployment. And for those who weren't able to attend, I mentioned it, that Irwin Army Hospital they have a YouTube page. And so Colonel Castillo actually does have a Meet Your Army Hospital video. So you can always go on to the YouTube, like I mentioned, Irwin Army Community Hospital, check out that video, but they also have just different videos of why service members continue to serve and also just about the services that they provide. And there was supposed to be 2 speakers, but I did mention Colonel Nunziato, the garrison commander, did get stuck in Miami due to Hurricane Debbie. So he was not able to make it back. I'm hoping that he is making it back because he was trying to jump some flights and ended up driving half of the way. So I told him and his wife, I hope they had safe travels trying to get back. And obviously they brought the ring with them. So 9/11 ceremonies and activities. So in honor of 9/11, the Flint Hills Volunteer Center typically does a wall of remembrance, but they wanted to do just a little bit more to give back to the community. So they will actually be distributing 400 pairs of athletic shoes to the local youth. So any grades between kindergarten through 5th grade, you can go to their website, which is FlintHillsVolunteerCenter.com, and get signed up. Like I said, it's free athletic shoes. When you sign up for not only the size that you need for your child, but also and that's just to help prevent 400 kids showing up at once. Thank you to not only RCPD, but the fire department for volunteering their time to actually help distribute those shoes to the kids. And then RCPD later that day from 3 to 5 will have their annual community picnic. There will be a 9/11 ceremony on Fort Riley, which will be Wednesday, September 11th at 10 o'clock. And then that location will be at the Global War Terrorism Memorial, which is the northeast of the Cavalry Parade Field. And then just a couple of upcoming events. Next, MRC lunch is September 4th. It'll be at the MHK Conference Center, and that will actually feature the Wamego Honor Flights. So not only will we have the liaison who runs the Wamego Honor Flights, but we are also inviting students who have taken the flights, and then also their veterans to kind of talk about what their experience like. For those of you who have never been, it is probably one of the most humbling events I've ever been to. I was able to go to the last one, and seeing those veterans return, and seeing the gyms filled, because as most of you guys know, a lot of the veterans who served during the Vietnam War did not have the welcome that they did. So just having that great welcoming reception. And then with that, any questions?
Barbecue tonight, right?
Barbecue on Berry tonight, so.
I'm gonna probably be running a little late because the Flint Hills Volunteer having their banquet.
Banquet,
So, yeah.
And I'll just remind quickly, we have our annual Chamber Business Showcase coming up. That is next Wednesday, the 14th, 5:30 to 7 at 4 Points by Sheridan. So that's when we go. A lot of different businesses all set up. You learn more about their businesses. That's always a great event. So we encourage you to attend if you can. And then our annual business awards is coming up in September, and I'll share some more details about that when we're here next month.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Have a
you.
good weekend.
Thanks, Darren. Morning, Julie.
Morning.
Okay, we'll need a motion, please.
Well, I would make a motion to recess as the Board of County Commissioners and reconvene as Board of County Health.
A second.
Then moved and seconded to recess as the Board of County Commission and reconvene as the Board of County Health. All in favor?
Aye.
Floor is yours. Yep.
Julie Gibbs with the Health Department. I'm here with my monthly update for August, reflecting back on the month of July, and then I'm going to talk really fast because I have a lot to cover today. Usually we have some time remaining with my presentation, but I have a lot, so try to get through it all in 30 minutes. This is the revenues by department that Shelley's provided for this current month. And then she's also provided the expenses by department. It typically looks this way over halfway through the year. Any questions on that? Okay, move on to program updates, starting with the clinic. They're starting to see an uptick in their vaccinations. So they did see 486 total appointments in July, with 177 of those being family planning visits. They delivered 348 immunizations across 212 patients. They did host another vaccination clinic for USD 383 students. They had 35 students in attendance. This is 35 more than what they had in June. They had no one show up in June. So we're getting closer to start of school. So people are starting to get their immunizations caught up. For August, they were at Everybody Counts last Saturday. Saw quite a few people there. They'll be at the Ogden Bike Swap later this month and at Purple Power Play in the park later this month as well. They'll also host another vaccine clinic to try to get students up to date before the start of school, which is already next week. We do have some news on contracting with additional insurers to include Ambetter, WellCare, Cigna, and Providers Care. We intend to have contracting finalized by the start of the respiratory virus season, which starts mid-September usually. A new contract with TRICARE goes into effect at the start of the year. Per the new contract, the health department will now be eligible to immunize prime beneficiaries alongside select beneficiaries, starting the calendar year of 2025. So more details to come following that, or following the start of the new year. Childcare licensing has been busy. They're working on 9 initial surveys to include 3 school-age drop-in programs, 1 childcare center, and 5 family childcare homes. They're investigating 8 complaints. 3 complaints were substantiated in July, so I do have more information on those complaints. 1 was a childcare center in Pottawatomie County. Program director did not report alleged abuse that was occurring in the facility to DCF or their LEO. Staff member withheld food on several occasions. They were cited for verbal abuse on several occasions and punishment that was humiliating and frightening to children several times. So that was substantiated. Another one that was substantiated was the childcare home in Erie County. Provider was not aware when a child exited the facility and was found close to a busy street by police. So they had to substantiate that complaint as well. There was another home in Pottawatomie County in which the trampoline and pool were accessible to children, and that's of course against regulations, so they had to cite them for that. All of those can be found on this compliance history website, and I can send you this website so you can easily click on it, since it's like you'll likely forget that whole thing. But this shows you the compliance history for all daycare or all childcare centers and daycare homes as well. Complaints can be received from parents, staff, DCF, law enforcement, community members, etc. All complaints are kept confidential until they're substantiated, and then they will be put out to the public. There is a compliance regarding alleged regulatory violations must be investigated. So if it's against regulations, that's when they do have to investigate. So any questions on any of that? Okay, moving on, this is their visit chart. They made 34 visits in the month of July, mostly in Riley County, and most were annual inspections. Heather fingerprinted 4 providers in July. And this is a facility chart as of right now, does not look good. We are down a provider or 2 in almost every county except for Dickinson. They're the only ones that stayed steady. That's for a decrease of 5 counties or 5 childcares in the region. These were all self closures. I asked Heather a little bit more about these closures. So none of them were closed by KDHE. A few were schools that provided after school care here in Riley County. 2 were senior providers who just retired and they had planned on retiring. Raising Riley's been very busy, especially with assessments and observations. They had 2 literacy support visits, 24 story time visits. They held a class training on July 22nd. They had 9 providers attend, 11 childcare provider visits, and 6 child assessments. As far as engagement in parent education, they held their monthly parent book club on the book The Power of Saying No by Vanessa Patrick. They had 3 parents in attendance. They also hosted a play and learn event in collaboration with A&H Farms. So A&H provided Raising Riley families with free admission, and this is a collaborative effort to get families out in nature and learn how nature and farm life can have a positive impact on the child's health development. There were 39 people who attended, 22 children and 17 adults. Raising Riley facilitators attended a free professional development training called Supporting Kansas Families DCF Child Care Subsidy Program. Facilitators learned how to support providers interested in becoming a Kansas Department for Child and Families Child Care provider for families eligible for DCF child care assistance, and they learned how the DCF child care subsidy program helps eligible families pay for child care costs. They also hosted their Laundry Love event with a story time. 8 adults and 7 children attended. They were at the Power of Produce on one of the Saturdays down at the farmers market. They interacted with 30 adults and 35 children. They were at Zufari Tales at the MHK Library. They interacted with 20 adults and 5 children, 15 children. And story time at the library where they interacted with 42 adults and 35 children. WIC has also been busy. They certified 66 pregnant women, 66, I should say pregnant women and 86 infants, 197 children in the month of July. WIC continues to participate in the Power of Produce on Saturdays at the farmers market. They also attended the Back to School Brigade at Fort Riley on July 9th, and that is JJ, one of our WIC clerks at the brigade. They were also at Head Start enrollment on July 30th and August 1st. Abby is one of our newest dietitians. She is fully in clinic and ready to see clients. She's been through all of her training. Lauren completed her internship. She was our WIC intern. She completed that at the end of July. And then some news that I didn't add on here, I didn't have it in time. The WIC state office is partnering with USDA to host a delegate from Columbia. Who they're looking at creating a program similar to WIC. So they chose Kansas, which I thought was interesting. And I was very pleased that Kansas then chose the Riley County WIC office for their mock, we'll have mock visits and a tour and a grocery store tour as well. The date is set for Friday, September 13th. That's when they'll be coming our way. So more details to come on.
Not a great day to do that on.
I know, Friday the 13th. All right, MCH held all 6 of their Becoming a Mom classes on Thursdays in July with a total of 80 participants. They had 14 participants in their Spanish MAM class. Additionally, the Becoming a Family 4th trimester class was held in July. They had 7 participants. A total of 18 new client enrollments were completed in July. And they had 29 participants attend their yoga classes, which they hold on every Wednesday throughout the month. They also have 2 new therapists starting in August. They've been through the completed pre-intern requirements with HR. They'll be providing student therapy services for free for health department clients beginning late August. And 1 is bilingual, so they'll be able to serve the Spanish-speaking population. And Skylar has been busy. We're wrapping up the surveillance from last year and meeting with the nurses again for this next year. She met with nurses at USD 383 to talk about any issues in the previous year's data collecting and how this will look next year. The good news is the nurses find this very beneficial, and they're actually making it mandatory to collect this data for the next year. So this is 383's wrap up. So you can see norovirus was the top, our most common illness last year. That's the stomach flu, followed by influenza and then COVID. So they're asked to keep track of all of these, whether it's the nurse or the secretary, getting information from parents or from the child or from the student. So yeah, stomach flu really took over last year. We were able to somewhat get in front of it. Once we started to see this happening in the fall, we were able to send out messages to parents through the school to let them know some prevention methods and ways to stop the spread. And this is USD 378. They're another school that did this as well. They collected their data a little differently. So other was their top category, followed by norovirus and then the common cold. The takeaway is now if they see the benefit in it, they can start messaging to parents during the year about prevention methods, about whatever's going on at that time. This also helps me as a local health officer to get ahead of things if we start to see the makings of an outbreak, which luckily, knock on wood, we haven't had that yet in school. Oh, and I wanted to give you, I have enough for everyone to take one. There's 3 items in here that Skylar's been making for outreach events. One is a first aid kit. Another is the outdoor safety kit. So it comes with like a tick key, mosquito repellent and sunscreen. And then another is the lice kit. So those have been going out to schools, daycares, and just that outreach event she has them available. It also comes with a fun backed sheet that you can, the QR code where you can get more information. Jenny's been very busy with her opioid prevention in Raleigh County. She delivered 9 presentations in July. She has 26 pending events for August, and she met with 26 different community partners in July. On her agenda for August is to get in front of schools she's not yet had a chance to meet with so that she can share her presentation this fall. She's developed a good relationship with Levine Health Center at the university and will be present during the open house on the 20th of this month. We're hoping that through this relationship and others within the university, we'll be able to show the film on campus. We have rights to that film. It's about 45 minutes long, but it's very impactful. We were able to show it a few times in the last year, but not a huge attendance. So we're hoping to maybe piggyback on an event that we can show this film at and get more people. Andre's been very busy. She's our part-time drug and endangered children's coordinator. She attended 5 webinars and trainings in the month of July. She also attended 3 community coalition meetings and met with 8 community representatives or groups, including Katie's Way of MHK, UFM in Manhattan, and Levine Health Center at K State. She was able to organize a training for St. Francis Ministry staff and a training for Pawnee staff scheduled on the 29th of this month. She'll also be conducting presentations for Community Corrections and Boys and Girls Club this fall. And then lastly, I wanted to end with a summary of what I learned from NACCHO 360. I attended the NACCHO 360 conference a couple weeks ago in Detroit. Never been to Detroit, and it was actually lovely from what the parts that I visited.
I was gonna say, you made it back, so that's good.
Yeah, I made it back safely, yeah. It was really interesting. I love the conference and I really love the downtown area. The Uber driver on the way from the airport to the hotel, he grew up in Detroit. So I asked him to tell me a little bit more about it and if I'd be safe walking around the downtown area. And he said, yeah, it's really changed in the last few years. They've really improved the structure and just the look of it. And I felt very safe walking around.
Were the Tigers playing? Were the baseball going on?
Yeah, he said there was a game that weekend. I didn't make it to a game, but yeah. The conference center was actually right across from Windsor, Canada, so I could see Canada from across the river. So it's very interesting. But these are some of the sessions that I attended on Tuesday. There's also a keynote session with a panel of individuals, including some city officials, researchers, and medical providers. They talked about all sorts of subjects, but mainly focused on the look of public health now after the pandemic. So I'm going to cover some of the more impactful presentations that I attended and talk about potential ways we can implement some of these strategies in the future. The first was using the FPHS, and that stands for Foundational Public Health Services Framework, to transform public health infrastructure. So this was a presentation that was delivered by a FAB member, and FAB is our accreditation board. This framework was updated in 2022 to assure it reflects the evolving nature and modernization of government public health. We use this framework with everything that we do, and especially within our strategic plan. So you have the foundational areas up here that they say no jurisdiction should go without those. And then, of course, our capabilities, which since we are accredited, we have to show proof of these capabilities. So we have to show proof of assessment, community partnership, and all of that. So I found this very beneficial to attend this session because I not only learned more about what FAB can do for us, but I also sat with other people from other states. So I kind of learned about how their state is structured or how their local health departments are structured, and we were all different, but we all had the same issues that we were dealing with at the same time. So Kansas is one of the 20 states, and you already know this, but Kansas is one of the 20 states that have adopted this statewide transformation. And I'm representing local health departments on this, and Kendra Baldridge from KDHE is representing the state. So we convene twice a year to learn about strategies to innovate and move our state forward, and also learn from other states on how to expand this concept and how they're leveraging this in their own state and local health departments. So this is just one of the, this is an interactive tool on the FAB website that we can utilize at any time. They actually have a lot of tools on the website, whether you're an accredited health department or you're not accredited, how to get that. Many health departments that aren't accredited, they can just click on this. It will tell them all the tools that they need. Or if they choose not to be accredited, there's a pathways recognition that is similar to it. They can go through that path as well. Another session that I attended was an integrated and collaborative approach to addressing opioid misuse and overdose. All of them have really long titles. This showcased a series of opioid prevention and treatment efforts through Anne Arundel County in Maryland. This county has over 570,000 residents with close proximity to DC and Baltimore. They have a very diverse population. They had several rural areas, urban areas, military as well. They saw a 23.5 increase in opioid related deaths from 2019 to 2020. But with the implementation of some of these programs, they saw an almost immediate decrease of 7.5% from 20 to 2021. The presenters took us through how they went through the planning, who they collaborated with, and how they implemented each of these programs. And these are just some of the programs that they shared with us. And I'm only going to share just a few of these with you for sake of time. The Wellmobile really caught my interest. This was established in 2019. They provide low threshold, what I call VUE, because I can't say that word very well, and connect individuals to a provider for 14 days of continuation. So VUE is the first medication that's been used to treat opioid use disorder. This, of course, should be prescribed as part of a comprehensive treatment plan. The team on the Wellmobile consists of a peer support coordinator, a nurse practitioner, and a driver. So far, over 1,944 individuals have been served and 389 have been admitted to long-term treatment. So just by meeting people where they're at, they could get them to long-term treatment. Other services provided on board included COVID-19 testing, HIV STI screening, syringe service programs, and distribution of first aid items, including first aid kits, Narcan, and fentanyl test strips. Other programs they had in Maryland included ODSOS and the STAR Team program. ODSOS is a program that has established peers in the emergency rooms. These peers offer overdose survivors wraparound services, so they're kind of acting as their case manager. From 2020, there have been 2,967 patients served and 79% have been linked to treatment. The STARS program stands for Screening Teams to Access Recovery. These are paraprofessionals in the schools that screen students and link them to services if they need it. They also do a lot of marketing in the schools to try to reduce stigma and point students to get help or get help from their friends. I'm sorry, for their friends, I should say. These are the sessions that I attended on Wednesday, including a keynote session, which wasn't that great. But these were topics on STI prevention, designing healthy communities through collaboration, crafting a strategic plan for substance misuse coalition or task force. So I'm just going to share with you some of them. First one I attended was a hackathon. I didn't know what a hackathon was, so I had to Google it when I was sitting there. And I think other people did too. So it's basically a contest to create a functioning software or hardware that has a specific focus. This particular hackathon took place in California. It was a 24-hour race. It was an innovation contest for STI screening. We had the winning team there to discuss their screening tool that actually won the contest. It's called Poppy IM. So you can access it from your PC or your phone. And I'm pretty sure IT would have it blocked, so I won't click on it. However, you are asked a series of questions, and based on your responses, it will give you a list of possible diagnosis. So it's basically screening for STIs. And this is what you'll see as your could be what you see as your outcome. based on your answers. So they made it pretty because STIs are not. So they made it look like a pretty garden with flowers. This application does more than just educate you on what your possible diagnosis is. It links you to why, based on your answers, why it could link to that. It also gives you resources. You can see up here the breakdown and then the next steps. And it really stresses that you need to go get tested. And here's where you can go get tested. So it gives you that linkage to care. The second place winner is very similar to this application, but it's more of an overall health education tool with ways to prevent certain chronic diseases. Tools like this might become more prevalent in the future and could lead to people getting linked to care. So it's very interesting to learn about all that they had to offer and how it could possibly come our way in the future. And then the other one that I attended that day was making a community healthy by design. This presentation talked about the collaboration between private Catholic hospitals and community organizations in Montana. It piqued my interest because of our collaboration with our hospital and with our Flint Hills Wellness Coalition, especially with the community needs assessment, how we're teaming up with them for that. According to Section 501 R3A under the IRS, they require hospital organizations to conduct a community health needs assessment every 3 years and to adopt an implementation strategy to meet the community health needs through that needs assessment. So they talked about community benefit and what is meant by that under the IRS. These are things that the hospital should strive to do. And then healthy by design is a concept that they came up with in Montana, which is collaborating with partners to promote and improve health for all. So this is just one of the collaborations they had. It was Complete Neighborhoods. They have a checklist that they've developed and that have been adopted by some of the cities to, for any new development, they have to meet some of those things on the checklist that are required to make it a complete neighborhood, so a walkable neighborhood. They had a lot of great other examples, including community health fairs, assessments, vaccine clinics, ways that you can collaborate with your community organizations and with your local hospitals. These ideas can easily be implemented in our community. Actually, George Camp with the chamber reached out to me the week that I was in Detroit to ask me about collaborating with the hospital on a health fair. And as you may recall, I tried to bring back our health fair last year. We hadn't done one since 2011, and so we tried to do one last year and it was a flop. We only had 2 people. So we decided not to do another one or to do it differently if we do. But maybe by partnering with the hospital, we could really make this happen. They're part of the healthcare work group that they've assembled, and that idea came up at one of their meetings. They reached out to me, so more to come on that. And then these are the sessions I attended on Thursday. 4 great sessions, another keynote session as well. These were topics on STI prevention, harm reduction, access to medication to treat opioid misuse, and building equitable local food systems. So I'm just going to share with you one of these. This is the Good Food Purchasing Program. It's a national movement with 68 institutions in 25 cities. No city in Kansas has adopted this yet. It's a movement to try to get organizations and large institutions to recognize the food system's wide reach by making commitments and policies. Could go along with the Food and Farm Council's master plan. So I might bring it up to Vicki to share some of their ideas that came out of this session. But overall, it was a really good conference. Learned a lot from it, and I really enjoyed Detroit. So thank you for letting me go to that. Next, I'm going to move on. Unless you have any questions about any of that, I'll move on. I'm going to talk about a request to become a family resource center. So this is over the last 2 years, staff at the Family and Child Resource Center have participated in a national family support network training to implement best practices and what they do currently. By attending these trainings, we've been recognized as a family resource center, and we're already in a family and child resource center, so it made sense for us to be one, to be recognized as one. We've provided some information in the packet as to what that is, and then Brevis provided this information as to what the kind of the background behind it all, and what their staff has been doing lately. By signing the agreement, the health department agrees to provide resources, services, training, and support to families in Riley County, which is something we do already. There's no cost to this, and one of the benefits is that we'll continue to receive technical assistance, trainings, and networking opportunities. This could also benefit us in the future with possible grant opportunities and other available resources. The recommendation that I have on the card says, that I typed up says to approve the application, but I realize there's no application there. It's just the agreement to sign. So that should say BOCC approved signing the agreement instead of the application. So, any questions on any of that? It's similar to accreditation. It's just recognizing us. Of course, we don't have to do near the work that we do for accreditation for this. But it's recognizing us as a family resource center for possible benefits in the future, but no cost related to it.
Let's see. I make a motion that the county commissioners approve the application
Agreement.
or agreement. Yeah. For the health department to become a family resource center.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. The BOCC approved the agreement for the Riley County Health Department to become a family resource center. All in favor?
Aye.
Sure, please sign.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, Julie.
Move to recess as the Board of Health and reconvene as Board of County Commissioners.
I'd second that.
Been moved and seconded to recess as the Board of County Health and reconvene as the Board of County Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
You're welcome. Have a good weekend.
Little mosquito things can come in here. Yeah.
I had one of those that I got the other day. They really work. Yeah, you put them on your wrist and they.
You can take them back off and use them again, and
It's amazing.
I just usually wait for the first freeze to take care of it. That first aid kit might be handy in the office there too. I hope I never have to use one of those. Shouldn't have to anymore, to be honest with you.
You cold today, Brittany?
I am. I've been kind of cold.
Grabbing that thing up tighter and tighter and oh my goodness.
This morning I was digging through my closet and I was like, it's gonna be like set in the 70s and raining. I need something warm.
But now you better start planning for that because it is coming eventually.
I'll move my closet stuff around a bit.
Gosh.
I love the fall, but our office, since I moved up front, I realized how much colder it is up front. And
Oh.
so it's different up front. It's colder.
Sounds like you gotta get your boss not to keep the AC so low.
He opens up his window and lets all the cold inside. I've been like in his office before shivering, like having a
You know, they don't stay as.
Yeah. That's great.
I told him the other day, the bad part about where I'm sitting now is he can see when I'm getting up to come talk to him.
Yeah. Just kick the door closed.
Yeah, shuts the door in my face.
Look at that TV show, Parks and Rec, where he has a remote that automatically posts. I've never seen that. There's a.
Glad you showed up today.
You automatically hit the good list.
I saw you right there.
We'll be have a capital improvement request here real soon, won't we? No, I've heard through the grapevine, you know what has a really good heater in it? Station wagons.
You still the owner of a station wagon?
Yes.
Has he tried to sell it?
No,
Oh, he hasn't, okay.
no.
He said he was going to over like our yard sales in Chapman, and then he hid it away in the garage.
Smart.
Just so no one would inquire, huh?
Yeah,
Smart man.
we drove it to Junction the other day, and his AC in that station wagon works better than the AC in my car.
Yeah, they do.
Told you should keep it,
No,
because it's got the better Freon in those years, you know.
Real free on.
Yeah.
Reach.
you should buy it.
I have no room for it.
Yo, come on, yeah, you do. And she's engaged, so you got her locked down now, so it's.
I'm sorry, I'm having fun with this. I just,
That's the term.
Do not even tempt me. I have wanted that car my entire life. Like,
You get to see it. Wesley brought it in one day.
be still my heart.
Sorry, Anna.
well, have fun topping that, but
Speaking of
I'm gonna
cars,
get it,
maybe
yeah.
One, maybe you can sell it.
You're so funny.
She'll definitely put the real price on it for you if you need to.
You won't need to go there. And continuing. Good morning, commissioners. Anna Bursing here with the Riley County Appraiser's Office, with the staff update. Definitely not near as exciting as the station wagon, but definitely some important things I'd like to go over with you this morning. Our team on the personal property side, has been entering our personal property changes as we're getting those in. We're scanning records as part of that digital process I shared with you. They're also assisting our residential team with various parts of what we're working on right now. Additionally, we are reviewing our process relating to personal property manufactured homes and the recent legislative changes. On July 1st, Governor Kelly signed into law Senate Bill 410, which had a mid-year impact on how we will handle personal property accounts moving forward, specifically the penalties and renditions. Unfortunately, like many changes in the law, there's room for interpretation. There have been several meetings and conversations with PBD, our personal property provider, Comtech, and county appraisers in our Northeast region, and the assistant county counselor to ensure we're moving forward in the right direction. To ensure that there's no confusion for our taxpayers, we will be sending letters out with all of the renditions to all property owners for this year, even though it's no longer a requirement. I believe there's gonna be more confusion if we don't notify them of what this change means for them. And so we want to implement these changes, but we also want to make sure they understand what's going to be expected of them when they get a rendition, if they get a rendition. Because they'll only receive renditions if there's been a change to the personal property account, or if it's a new, a brand new personal property account. Everyone else that has items listed, if there's no changes, they're no longer required to get a rendition. So we're gonna send letters out to help them understand what that looks like for them. On the agricultural use side, we're reviewing properties due for their annual reinspection, processing changes in ag land delineation from those returned agricultural maps, reviewing our sales and processing, reviewing those sales received and processing our personal property ag exemption applications. As a reminder, those ag maps that we sent out, those are required. This is part of our process that we statutorily must complete every 2 years on all agricultural use properties. And so as well, Senate Bill 410 is having an impact on ag. Land devoted to agricultural use and adverse influences specifically, largely relating to canopy coverage and when we would apply a reduction. And so parcels with 0 to 25% canopy coverage will result in the removal of canopy coverage influences, which is essentially a reduction in the value. Many counties have interpreted some historic directives that the canopy cover needed to be removed from all parcels. So some counties had taken it off completely in prior years. In Riley County, we did not do that. We still had canopy cover on a lot of our parcels. But some of those parcels will no longer qualify due to the amount of canopy coverage there is. There would be no reduction for them. And so basically what happened this year is they re-implemented the 1998 directive, which speaks to when you apply canopy coverage, what percentage of coverage it has to be, what types of properties would qualify for that. Additionally, on the ag side, part of Senate Bill 410
that affects the appraisal was a change made to the ag use classification, defining or adding to the definition of land devoted to agricultural use. This exact statement reads, land devoted to agricultural use identifying for all taxable years commencing after December 21, 2020, as otherwise devoted to the production of plants, animals, or horticultural products that is utilized as part of a registered ag tourism activity at a registered ag tourism location by a registered ag tourism operator pursuant to KSA 32-1432 and amendments thereto. What this means is the ag tourism properties we have in Riley County that were classified as commercial in 2024 will change to ag in 2025. The piece of the bill that caused frustration for some of our property owners is the statement for all taxable years commencing after December, I think it was 31st, I apologize, 2020. This statement led some property owners to believe we would go back and change classifications in 21, 22, 23, and 24. However, that is not the case, as under Kansas statute, the only way to make a change in a prior year value is if there is an avenue to do so, which under KSA 79-2005 would be a payment under protest hearing. So if their taxes are paid in the prior year, there's no avenue to go back and make a change to the classification.
I'm gonna jump in only at this.
No.
If I can.
No,
You need to be recognized by the chair.
Go ahead.
let her finish and then I'll let you, okay.
There will be some appraised value impact at some level on ag use versus commercial classification. So ag land has use value with an assessment rate of 30%, and ag buildings are already assessed at 25%. Commercial land is assessed at 25% of market value, not use value. And the buildings are also assessed at 25%. So where some of that bigger impact is going to be is in the land. And so we have 8 registered tourism facilities in Riley County. One's in the city of Riley, the other 7, they're listed as Manhattan, but they're not actually in Manhattan. So that was it was a little tricky to figure out, but I did figure those out. And so it's kind of it for the ag for this update. On the residential side, we have approximately 547 residential sales on homes so far for 24. The median sale price is $239,200 and the average sale price is $267,431. Our sales ratio is currently sitting just below or right at that 95% range, and our team is reviewing sales. We're about 83% complete with that annual review. So those are properties that are due for the reinspection. We're reviewing and processing those questionnaires or those green cards we talked about that were sent out last month as part of our process. We have 4 residential small claims hearings that are still pending relating to 24 valuation. On our commercial team, they are preparing for BOTA hearings, reviewing sales, completing AR, completing land analysis, and preparing for the mailing of our income and expense questionnaires. Our target mail date for the questionnaires is August 15th. And I will be on the press conference on Monday to just make sure the public is aware of that. Our next slide is going to show the BOTA updates, and I will scan to that and then I'll come back. So as you're aware from our tax roll correction this morning, we received the BOTA decision on the West Loop Shopping Center. While the board reduced the value, they relied heavily on our data and only made a slight adjustment in the cap rate, which resulted in the decrease. I think it's important to recognize the potential loss and the excellent job our commercial analyst, Steve Shirley, as well as Mike Montoya, had done in presenting the facts in this case. This reduction was related to a subjective piece of data. As everyone knows, appraisal is an opinion, and it relates to the investment classification of the property. If the taxpayers had the value reduced to what they wanted during the informal level, the loss would have been $377,993 in taxes. If they would have got what they wanted at the BOTA level, the loss would have been $247,968. And that's tax dollars. That's not appraised, that's not assessed, that's tax dollars. And so I feel like it's a win that the $115,721, while that's a loss, we could have been in a lot worse position. And so I want to recognize the work that goes into this, because it is a lot preparing those voter cases and defending the values and where we get to those. And so I just wanted to share those numbers with you. Additionally, Home Depot is scheduled for oral arguments as it relates to that 2018. That's been looming out there for a very long time. So we're excited that that's moving forward. I believe the oral arguments are later this year. So hopefully, hopefully early 2025, we'll have some results for that. We're still awaiting decision from the exemption hearing on a property that was placed back on the tax rolls. There's been a lot involved in that in the last several months. And so lastly, let's just go back here real quick. July's been a really busy month, several meetings and discussions, included but not limited to, like, we had another discussion with the city of Manhattan as it relates to exemption applications. And we are hopeful, very hopeful, that we will get the we've had discussions, as I mentioned, with Comtech, the Northeast, as it relates to Senate Bill 410, small claims hearings and preparations, as well as hearings. I've assisted a residential supervisor in handling some of those, preparing for those and holding some of those hearings. I did attend the Community Land Trust meeting with Habitat for Humanity, as well as a Flint Hills Realtors Association meeting, where they wanted us to kind of answer some questions as it relates to appraisal, things they can do to help buyers understand a little bit more. It was a really good dialogue. It was myself, and I think it was 4 or 5 other county appraisers in the Northeast region. So it was a well-attended and good meeting. And then I've also met with Senator Reddy. We had good dialogue, good conversation, answered some of her questions on a various amount of property tax related topics. And then as a reminder, NCR-AAO and IAAO are at the end of this month. So at the end of next week, actually the following Monday, I will be driving to Nebraska for the NCR-AAO conference, and then returning, and then I'll be going to Denver for the IAAO conference. And so there are some things we are hoping to achieve in those conferences, and connections hoping to be made. And that's all I have. If there's questions, I'm open to that.
I'll let you go ahead now, Brian, but come up to the podium if you would, please. Yeah,
Go ahead.
I didn't see you there. Let him go ahead first.
Yeah. Oh, just in looking at them, I saw there were several others that listed as July 2nd. Are those, you just haven't gotten the results of those yet?
You go back to, we're going the
Yeah.
wrong direction. Thank you. As far as scheduled, let's see, Manhattan Marketplace, I believe, may have been rescheduled or continued, yeah. So that just
Okay.
hasn't been updated to reflect the continued.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's a big one. There's several
Just-
different
yeah, the whole-
properties, yeah. That's
Parts of
all,
it. I wondered if they'd had them, you said got
No.
results, or it got
no, they continued.
postponed again.
Yeah, sometimes we'll get those notifications last minute of the continuance, and we're waiting for the letter, the official letter from BOTA before we update the spreadsheet. So sometimes it's continued before we get our letter.
Oh, okay. I see some of them scheduled till March
25.
25
Yeah.
now.
They're really behind,
They are,
just statewide. Yeah.
yeah.
Saying.
Okay, now go ahead. Unless anybody else has questions. Okay.
I beg forgiveness for my over-caffeinated state, and I also wanted to thank, before I make my little comment, I want to thank Rich for helping me stay true to our meeting form, right? Sometimes in the other jurisdictions that I've worked in, as they get smaller, right, it gets a little less formal, but I love how we're set up here. And so please accept my apology. I didn't mean to step on any toes. All right. So I just wanted to provide a little bit of explanation as to my reading, why the statute was worded for the stuff that went back to, what was it, 2020? Right, 2021.
The ag tourism.
The ag tourism, okay,
Yeah.
right, there's 2 things that are working at the same time there. The first is our legislature, right, is cleaning up existing things that are on the books of BOTA, right? And so they're not, because there isn't a statutory process, and it would be a nightmare to try to go back and right? If the legislature was intending for this to be a retroactive, okay, we're gonna revisit every ag parcel this is affected, or every agritourism parcel this is affected, they would have said that in statute. What instead they're trying to do is, as they've done many times in the past, they enact this legislative change, right, to deal with cases that are pending in front of BOTA. And this is basically them saying to BOTA, hey, right, get the memo, right? This is how you're supposed to deal with these things, and we're gonna fix the problem moving forward, because there shouldn't have been, we weren't pleased with what you were doing before, right? That's the only comment I wanted to say, and that's why it looks confusing, but it's the legal mechanics of how they have to write a statute.
The whole statute of agra and agritourism is very vague to begin with.
Yeah, it started
We
off.
had to deal with it with one property. We ended up getting sued for just statutory requirements that we had to do to allow them to put a house on their own property, because that property is considered agritourism. But
I will not editorialize except to say, right, that statute, that whole agritourism thing started off being an amazing thing.
yeah, I think for Kansas in general, it's a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
the
I
statute, why they did it was to make
increase,
sure that there was that there was liability protections for folks. But then, just like with everything, when you try to do something good, you also encounter things that you haven't anticipated before, like the stuff you just mentioned.
they didn't come back and try to figure out how to make that work in an appropriate manner either. They just kind of left it and went on to something else.
There you go. That's all I had. Thank you.
Any other questions, commissioners? As it relates to my update? All right, well, thank you very much.
Good weekend, Adam.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that's the last item on the agenda for this meeting, so I don't have anything else in particular to discuss, so.
Just a little further discussion on that, emergency management, remodeling of that existing building. Numbers, we had put in $1 million for it. They came up with two versions. One was 1.4 and one was 1.8 million. But they were looking to see how much money do we really have? And back in May, Brittany had come up with some rough numbers, and they've changed since then. Because this showed we didn't have, and we've talked about what extra we're gonna have. We need to have a meeting, because the architect and contractor are saying, well, what is your budget then? How much do we need to cut? What do we want to end up with? And so we need to kind of look at our numbers and come up with where we want it to be, because they're gonna be waiting now, and I realize.
I figured we
the other
had that
one
meeting
isn't,
at some point in time, but.
the other building isn't gonna be done until July. They're not gonna move out of there till June or July next year. But as far as planning, I think there's money, because there was roughly 14.4 million in ARPA, but we've all got almost 1.4 in interest to date. We've just been looking in the money in the ARPA has to be designated, by the end of the year, but just at some point, we might want to have a meeting with David and Russell about the budgets, because there's still some loose in the EMS building. There was just an allowance in there for IT and fixtures, the furniture, that we need to get a better idea of where those things are coming in. And like this new building, it looks nice. It's what we need to do. And initially it looked like we were way over, but maybe not, depending on the interest and stuff, but just get an idea. Now that we have some numbers from them, we can kind of look at what they want, what we want to. Because basically they were saying they're on hold. We need to tell them where exactly we need to be on the budget.
Well, they never gotten back to us on what they're actually working on and doing on that part of it. I wasn't aware.
And that's what this meeting
No, that's fine.
yesterday was given
Yeah,
that thing.
that's good.
So we need to sit down with them and kind of give it
That's good.
an overall.
That's good.
Because now that we've got a firm contract with PHS.
Yes.
And there is some contingencies even within that
And I
contract.
think it's time to start getting an update from either the architect and BHS on a consistent basis on what's
We're
working on too, not just hearing it from you.
Okay, well, like I said, we're getting those reports.
Yeah.
Coordinating. I talked to Greg about this. He called me yesterday. I'm generally attend those meetings as well, but just timing wise with election, I couldn't be there yesterday, but I've seen the updated numbers and so was Brittany. And I suggested to Greg that he bring this up to discuss with you and then we'll have Brittany get with John Ellerman and those two schedule time on the agenda to get all the players here, the architects and BHS to update you on where we're at numbers wise on both projects. And I never like when they ask how much money do you got? Because the board needs to decide on your priorities, just like.
Well, they weren't saying how much you have, they were saying, here's what we got, what is that, does that work?
But that's
We,
what you-
we were saying, we're not sure what we've got.
That's what the board needs to decide. I mean, just because we got it doesn't necessarily mean you want to spend it on that.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
remember, we cut back the EMS ambulance administration facility significantly as well, based on first numbers. And so we'll bring if the board's okay with that, we'll have John and Brittany arrange and get all the players here with all the financial information and the update on the status of the current project, plus the renovation and seeing what you as a board want to do.
We need to, we need to start, I mean, maybe not monthly, maybe bi-monthly or something, but have them update us. We had talked about that originally, and I think we're at a time with construction.
Well, and they do we meet every other week, but with VHS.
It would be nice to get an update here.
Get an official report up to here.
Right.
Okay.
And that way, we're not just hearing it, but the public's hearing
Yeah.
it too.
So Brittany, can you be sure John does that, please?
Yeah, and there's a lot of different things that we need to take care of, or their budgets are coming in, so we need, like Rich said, prioritize.
Right.
Because that money will go away pretty soon.
Right.
That's all of us.
And in looking at these numbers, they said, this is our final numbers as well, but that didn't include what the county has.
I thought we had somewhere between 1.1 and 1.2 million for this facility, so given the contingencies and price increases, that's not really that bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's.
Especially if we can get it locked in now, leading up to that phase.
Yeah.
They will, that's. years
Yeah.
down the road.
Price
Yeah.
here.
When we even get started, I mean, buy.
And I don't know if David's working or if Corey's got a better idea on
Yeah,
how much he's gonna spend in there and how much furniture. And they said, we're gonna put all new furniture in there, we're gonna reuse some of the stuff we have.
yeah.
But we need to,
Oh, I
I say it
agree.
wasn't the architect saying, how much do you want to, they were saying, here's what our numbers are, what have you got? And
Yeah.
John and I were going, well, we got this, but we don't have, but maybe we've got some here and we just need to pin down the numbers more so we can,
Yeah.
before they finalize that the end of it.
Good.
And the reason it's so important is because that's where Brittany's working on currently is to figure out what we need to have committed by the end of this year in agreements and stuff for other projects. And Greg and I talked, maybe this will have enough, but I still think we maybe need to add an additional, in case we have monies left over, because like I told Greg, I didn't want to spend 50 or 100,000 back, and he said, I don't want to send $10 back.
No,
So that way we.
It's never gonna happen again, ever,
Yeah.
so.
So that way it has a domino effect on everything because this is the largest.
And keep
thing
in
we do.
mind, this particular fund is a large reason why we have high inflation right now, so we've got to use it in a manner that. I'm not gonna say balances it out, but, makes it at least more worthwhile
Like,
overall.
take care
It's
of
hard.
long-term problems.
Exactly.
Short team, like some people. do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And with that, do we have anything else? I like that idea. That's.
Okay.
Fun idea. Yeah.
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything else.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the August 8th meeting of the Board of Raleigh County Commissioners.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn the August 8th meeting of the Raleigh County Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everyone have a good, cool, and hopefully.